Disconnected? The fuck do you mean it disconnected? No you did not. Oh, I suppose you could call it that. Am I coming in loud and clear? Oh, good, good. All right. Well, Oh, well, anyway. How you doing today, Jaggy? Jaggy Baggy? Jagger Bagger? Oh, good. For some reason, my OBS is deciding to screw up and keep constantly disconnecting. I'm not going to like that. Fairly decent, just using the maximum prestige technique learned from our old locomotive friend and using my cellular device to keep an eye on the channel. Yes, it does, but it shall not get them. Mostly because it's not something I want to deal with right now. Honestly, this is mostly just a testing phase. I'm just looking for things to do right now. Today has been unnecessarily quiet. Well, that does unfortunately seem like a bit of a you problem. You know, I kind of had the idea of trying to see what a podcast would be like. Just to try it out and see what it does. Though I'm not quite sure what I'd wind up doing on mine, mostly because I don't pay enough attention to the world to get into anything like news or anything like that. How about... fair enough. Don't care, thank you. Stop it. Was my original plan. Problem is, I don't really have much else to do at the moment. I would blade, but I don't have any... I don't have my camera set up to this thing, and I'd much rather not. Although... Nah, not older. For the love of God, OBS, what is your problem? I told you, no, knock it off. Knock it off! Alright, I gotta figure out what's going on. No, we are not fucking sponsored by Fanta, Velvet! No, we're not! Since when are you a lawyer for Fanta? We're going to ignore the ad on the right.
Solo Love in Your Eyes. Overdrive. Available now.
Walmart's top brand gift surprised
No,
every
I
last
prefer
hoop.
Pepsi. When will you get that for your skull?
Even Apple? Who knew?
Ooh la la.
Okay, Blazer.
Yeah,
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by BetterHelp and Mint Mobile. Omni-Man, the invincible champion from planet Viltrum.
Homelander, the world's greatest superhero, brought to you by Vought International.
Few heroes have stood the test of time with more aplomb than the very first, Superman. But what if
Is that
Christmas?
And it's our job to analyze their
Even though the
weapons,
episode
armor, and skills to find out
itself
who would
released in
win.
Up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Omni-Man. Had you going there for a second, huh?
Not really. His name is in the title of the video.
Well, you might be forgiven for mistaking Nolan Grayson's mustache that he's not afraid to hide with.
Let me see. Network issues, unstable Wi-Fi, upload speed, or a faulty cable. Well, I don't have much of a cable problem, so... my Wi-Fi is fine. What could it be? I'll figure that out later. Anyway.
Terrible CGI! Born on the planet Viltrum, Nolan was sent to Earth to act as its super-powered alien defender and spread the enlightenment of his utopian
Think,
homeworld.
Death Battle,
And as
think!
his superhero
Why would you
alter
put me
ego
up against
Omni-Man,
somebody
there
I
was
could
no one better
sneeze on
suited to
and
the
blow
task.
away?
He saved the world countless times, worked alongside the Guardians of the Globe, and even married and had a son, Mark.
Life couldn't be better until Mark inherited his dad's Viltrumite powers. That's when Mark found out that his dad was a stinking rat bastard liar.
Turns out, Viltrum wasn't exactly the peaceful utopia Nolan promised.
Peaceful in the sense that they culled half their population,
They
murdering
would
billions
make
with their bare
very
hands
good
until only the
Daleks.
strongest were left, united by a common purpose.
This Viltrumite empire then went on to conquer planet after planet in their home galaxy, murdering any who dared oppose them. So just scratch that whole peaceful part.
Same thing to Earth. Sorry, Mark. Your dad's a dick.
Even worse, he's easily the most powerful being on the entire planet.
Imagine combining the raw power of a Kryptonian and the bloodlust of a Saiyan.
To be honest,
and what
I've
you
always
get
wanted to
is
see
basically a
Nolan go up
Viltrumite.
against
Due to their
Conquest.
unique DNA, Viltrumites
Like,
are
we saw
composed
them
of
fight in
smart
the
atoms
comics,
that they
spoiler
can
warning about
manipulate
that,
to achieve
but
superhuman
it wasn't a
feats,
one-on-one.
like holding their breath for weeks on end by drawing more energy from the oxygen inside them.
Kinda reminds me of that whole bioelect bullshit, a sciencey explanation for his powers.
Yep,
Except
pretty much.
smart atoms make even less sense. How can atomic structure be designated by your DNA? DNA is made of atoms. It's completely nonsensical biological hogwash that I cannot stand.
Uh-oh, comics fans. I'm calling this debunked. Viltrumites can fly, withstand near absolute zero temperatures, and even possess insane healing factors. You know, stuff like getting punched through the stomach, having your guts ripped out, or having your face smashed up in a tomato soup. I don't mean to
Oh, that's
exaggerate,
because,
but Viltrumites in this series get
That's because the video
fucked up
audio
and
is
somehow
also somewhat
survive.
connecting to
However,
the mic as
too
well.
much trauma to the brain or heart can overtax their healing factors, and intense heat can be especially damaging.
Even the most powerful Viltrumites can be killed by extended baths in the spicy hot plasma of a star.
And because of their abilities, their inner ear vestibular system is far more sensitive than a regular human's. Intense sonic pressure will disrupt their fragile
Now imagine
equilibrium and
taking
even
a
prevent them from flying.
Viltrumite
Though
and
pushing
putting them in a
themselves
rock
to their
concert.
physical limits only ends up making them waste for thousands of years, he's easily one of the toughest Viltrumites around. Like, other aliens attacking him will literally splatter their bodies against him. But Mark didn't inherit everything from his dad. Despite his alien genes, Mark was raised as a human with our weak, pathetic human values like love and compassion and not brutally murdering the shit out of everyone you see like a
Imagine
maniac. Really made it
literally
difficult for
losing
Nolan to
to
relate to
somebody
his kid.
because they
Such
just
as when these
scream at you
aliens
really
invaded
hard.
Earth. Mark tried his best foes.
Nolan, meanwhile, tackled their leader through the portal back to their homeworld, then spent some time systematically annihilating their planet for even daring to take Earth from him.
That
Classic
begs the question,
generational
how did
divide.
he ever get back in
Annihilate
time?
is underselling it.
Or,
Nolan
like,
flew
how did
so
he
fast
find
that his
his
body
way-
lit
Oh, right,
their
the
planet's
portal.
atmosphere on
Forgot about the
fire,
portal.
creating massive country-sized explosions, with his own body as the projectile.
Omni-Man has flown across galaxies in only a week.
I will give the
survived
author
punching a hole
this.
through a planet.
He
and
knows.
The diameter of the meteor is equivalent to the distance from the top of the Panhandle to the Gulf of Mexico. That would make it
Yep.
1,300 kilometers wide.
and weigh over 4.6 quintillion tons. Moving at re-entry speeds of over 11,000 meters per second, it had hit with enough energy to
Introducing
That son of
Grammarly,
a
like you've
Protestant
never seen
lord.
before. Your all-in-one writing essential. Recycling is great.
Don't care. Anyway,
destroy the moon twice over.
So Omni-Man is strong enough to slaughter those who consider
Never
him
thought
an
I'd hear a
ally,
meteor
the
say
Guardians
eat
of the Globe. All to ensure as seamless a transition.
It wouldn't be that easy, because he'd have to go through his son first.
Mark was
Honestly, as
horrified by
much
his
as
father's
people
treachery,
like to,
spurred on by the reveal that Nolan only
dunk
viewed his
on
mother
the
as
Immortal
a
for
pet,
being
a disposable
just a
broodmare,
bum. Give
invincible,
him
fought
credit, he made
Omni-Man to
Omni-Man
save the
bleed.
planet.
And that's when Mark's real Viltrumite training began. Get it? Training? Like the train?
Yes, we get it. It was a good pun. Jesus.
But if anything, it was Omni-Man that learned a lesson about humanity that day.
He may have tried to turn Mark into a Viltrumite, but in reality,
must have
as
been the
Nolan fled
roughest
Earth
sex
with
in the
tears in
world.
his eyes, Mark made his father human.
I mean, all things considered,
This episode is
Immortal,
sponsored
despite
by-
being quote-unquote
well,
only human, he's insanely
it can be-
strong.
That's. Welcome to
Exactly.
Vought
It's kind of
International.
like Mr. Satan from Dragon Ball in a way. He's insanely strong. He just happens to live in a world where the competition is too high for him.
A multi-billion-dollar American conglomerate whose #1 products are the greatest superheroes on the face of the earth.
That's right. Superheroes are real and they're big business.
Imagine a company that possesses a monopoly on popular culture, pumping out movies, TV shows, action figures, and video games constantly, drowning the masses in a slurry of focus-tested nostalgia opium with no end in sight.
That's
Yeah.
a thought.
Imagine.
Within Vought's pantheon of
Homelander
gods
suit
among men
made
is
of?
their premier super team, the Seven, and its leader, Homelander.
He's got the looks, the charm, the Jesus, and most importantly, he's got the power to slaughter all of America's enemies at home and abroad. This guy
You would
probably
not
eats
believe
freedom
the
and
fact that I'm
shits
actually
eagles.
able to do
But
that.
Homelander's squeaky clean corporate sheen is only skin deep. Far from the big blue Boy Scout he's marketed as, Homelander is probably the closest thing to Lucifer on Earth.
Remember
Yep.
Bad Future Biff from Back to the Future?
Good movie.
Now give him superpowers and media training.
Vought's official story is that Homelander was an alien who landed here as a baby, a tale we're all familiar with.
And
like
one that's
me
total
to
bullshit.
start?
Homie was made in a lab with Vought's proprietary super soldier serum, Compound
all they
V.
had to do
And he was
just
a
give him
complete
a good
success.
Too
Give
much
him
of
a
a
good
success.
family.
He was murdering rooms of terrified scientists before his umbilical cord
Yeah,
was
we're
even
gonna
cut.
ignore
In the
that.
comics, Vought had to keep a remote-controlled hydrogen bomb strapped to him at all times because they had no idea what else could possibly kill him.
As he
Send
grew
him
up,
into
he
the
was
vacuum
subjected
of
to
space.
psychological conditioning to make him the greatest and most profitable hero of all time.
I mean, he's
It wasn't
nearly
long before he
indestructible, but
debuted
he
as
just
Homelander,
suffocated.
the ultimate defender of the American dream.
Homelander possesses
Also,
massively
golly,
superhuman
his
strength,
balls are
speed,
sticking
and
out.
durability. He can fly at hypersonic speeds, see through walls with X-ray vision, and detect a person's emotional state from just the sound of their heartbeat.
Yeah, it wouldn't
But you know
take
you're done
much.
for
You
when he
just
breaks
have
out
to
his
give-
heat vision,
literally,
which is strong enough to
he's a
slice through
villain
crowds
who
of
is
people
just
or
a
split
victim
airplanes
of
in
his
half.
circumstances.
Or screams so loud that it shatters the eardrums of anyone around him.
Those are innocent bystanders whose ears are exploding, by the way. Oh yeah, he totally
Yeah.
botched this mission to stop a plane hijacking, so he forced each and everyone on board to die in the resulting crash so they wouldn't reveal his incompetence.
Well, Homelander's powers may be real, but his heroism is a charade. Though he plays his part well, he cares nothing for the peons he's forced to protect.
The only thing he treasures is, ironically, his public image. A healthy person. But don't worry, he eventually cleaned up his act and started a totally 100% healthy sexual relationship with a fellow superhero, who just happened to be an actual Nazi. Speaking of sex, Wish, you know how I'm always saying we should figure out how Superman and Lois
No,
You find yourself
not an ad.
between grown-ups
was, in the middle of my colonoscopy.
and these hooligans. Do you listen to Uncle Bob?
Fuck off.
get busy? Well, forget that, because Homelander proved that they can't when his ejaculation blew his partner to smithereens. Who drew that?
Good
Look,
question.
there's no way to sugarcoat this. Considering a human's load has much less mass than a shotgun pellet, it would have to be moving significantly faster to achieve the same kinetic energy. Over 1,500 meters per second, or 4.5 times faster than sound.
That's right. Homelander can bust a nut faster than the speed of sound. Well, good night, everybody.
Amateur numbers. He's got to get that speed up.
Ooh, kinda sucks for humanity that they made this dude the most powerful being on the planet and a psycho murderer.
That's no exaggeration. Stillwell even commented that Homelander has proven immune to every.
Alright, let's take a look at his feats here. Barring the bottom one. Stronger than Queen Maeve is pretty impressive. Ruptured the ears of all passengers on an airliner, also impressive. Can survive any known man-made weapons, including the Tsar bomb, which originally was supposed to be over twice being, but they literally had to tone down the power level to avoid atmospheric destruction. Escaped a C4 explosion mid-detonation, which people have calced out to be around Mach 30, hurled a fighter jet with one hand, as we saw, and effortlessly threw a baseball into orbit. So, yeah.
Every weapon known to mankind,
All
no
things
matter how
considered,
powerful. Humanity
people like to
literally
shit on
lacks
him,
the
but
ability
let's be
to
honest,
kill him.
he
That'd
lived
include
solo
nuclear
a
weapons as
number of
powerful as
verses.
the Tsar bomb, which exploded with the energy of 50 megatons
The
of...
Soviets who
go.
created it were afraid it would irreversibly alter Earth's biosphere and end the world. That's right, we all almost died.
And that's the kind of shit Homelander can shrug off no problem. He's strong enough to throw a jet with one hand and fast enough to outspeed a C4 explosion.
Despite being an emotionally stunted man-child, Homelander is still surprisingly cunning and able to manipulate those around him.
Though it probably wasn't too
he's
smart
not a
to piss
genius,
off the
he's
world's
just in a
angriest
world
limey, Billy Butcher.
where
Yeah, turns
almost
out forcibly
everyone
fathering a
isn't.
best...
Of note, as unjustifiable as it is, to Homelander, this gave him something he never had before.
As much as I
Some
don't
small
like the
measure of
character, I
control
gotta
over
admit,
his own
the
life.
suit is clean.
Being
I love
born
it.
Vought's star pupil meant he was under their
shoulder
thumb
pads
from the
and all
day
that.
he
Like,
was
I just
born.
love
His
it. It looks
superpowered
cool.
son was the first thing that was truly his and might be his best option for a new beginning. Or not.
This episode is
I
sponsored
always
by
forget
Mint
that
Mobile.
part.
Have to know
Only they
whether your data...
and keep playing.
Skip. Here we are. Alright, time for some Haynes. Oh, a fun fact, the guy they got to voice Homelander for this fight, voiced Enrico Pucci in the English dub of JoJo. And the guy they got to voice Omni-Man has voiced Dio, the Kool-Aid Man, and SpongeBob on Death Battle.
Howdy, neighbor. Coco? It's warm.
Excuse me, what the actual fuck are you doing in my house?
You know, Nolan, Homelander is more than just a superhero. It might be cynical to say this, but he's a brand. And it's very important to me that that brand
Also,
means
Mike, I love the character
something.
writing.
And if I'm playing second fiddle to some goddamn alien, what's really the point, right? What do you think, Debbie?
Imagine you just see like a revive button appear over her head.
Aw, she's shy. Get the fuck out of my country.
I'm going to feed you your own heart.
Shit. That was a great line.
Country? Seriously? I'm not here for your country.
He felt more remorse for the collateral. Oh, there goes their public images. Congratulations, we get 2 references in one.
Never been hit by someone your own size before? You have to turn with the punch to reduce. Better.
Props to Homelander, he is learning.
What's the matter? Are you going to cry?
I saw someone edit the audio for this fight and have when Omni-Man floats through the fire. I saw someone edit over the audio with Bully Maguire saying, "Gonna cry?"
After I'm done with you, I'm gonna flash by that little shit son of yours! This one less neighborhood! And every goddamn person you know!
The fact that Homelander did more damage than Bardock. Think about that.
Remember what I promised you. Now swallow. Merry Christmas.
Scammers demand payment with gift cards. Don't share codes or personal details.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jessica Reisig, an orthopedic surgeon here in Butte, Montana with specialty training in foot
gear.
KO! Wiz, if there's a god, it sure seems like he was working out some aggression there.
Despite Homelander's dominance within the world of...
let's see, 7.2 billion times faster, Actually, hold on. They never actually specify in this episode how fast Omni-Man is, so let's just... 2 times 4.5. Alright, let's just do this real quick. So, Mach divided by 870, 123, 870,000. On a low end, Omni-Man was put at 37,241 times faster than light, but if we go off the whole Mach 30 thing, then divide by 170, 123, at a high end, they put Omni-Man at 248,000 times faster than light, so major lowball for Invincible, but yeah. Because they never actually say how fast he is. They just say he's faster than light.
Of the boys, he's a big fish in a small pond, relatively speaking. Homelander can move faster than sound, while Omni-Man can move faster than light. Homelander can survive a nuke, while Omni-Man can shatter the moon twice over.
To be fair, Homelander did have a couple of abilities Omni-Man didn't, like his heat vision.
And while Viltrumite healing factors have failed against continuous exposure to the heat of stars, that still took quite a bit of time, and there's no reason to think Homelander's heat vision was anywhere near that hot.
Hell, Nolan's tanked heat vision from the superhero Mean Supreme before, who can vaporize people in an instant.
Even if it was hot enough, Omni-Man's superior speed would cut him off before he could do any lasting damage. Similarly, despite being able to disrupt his equilibrium with his supersonic screaming, Homelander wasn't strong enough to capitalize on it in any meaningful way.
Plus, while sonic damage does do a lot, like sound waves, even at a somewhat high volume, can do insane amounts of damage. Problem is that his sonic screaming isn't nearly loud enough for that. So, yeah.
Plus, while Homelander is pretty devious when the situation calls for it, Omni-Man has been fighting and conquering worlds for thousands of years. He comes from a warrior culture based on fighting. Homelander, on the other hand, comes from a test tube and stronger than everyone else.
And that's the key difference between them. One is a warrior, and the other is a bully. Homelander was never going to give up easy, but Omni-Man's skill, power, and Viltrumite heritage earned him the win.
When it comes to Superman knockoffs, Homelander had to eat his heart out.
The winner is Omni-Man.
Hold on, I want to see what matchup came after this, because this was a while ago.
Death Battle is bad.
see.
Unique emotes, badges,
yeah,
and
they have
additional
the Battle
content, and a
Royale.
bunch
That was
more.
fun.
Click that join button to see more info, and thanks so much for watching.
Right, Magneto versus Akira. That was a good episode. Alright, let's move on
With
to
Google
the
Play
Vampire
Games,
Duel.
you can play unlocked. Unlock bigger screens. And
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored.
Goals? Weekly.
I don't care about therapy, I care about violence. Oh, really? Oh, you're gonna like it.
Dio Brando, everlasting adversary of the Joestar bloodline.
Alucard, undying enforcer of the Helsing organization.
Vampires,
See, they
the
got,
spawn of nightmares formed from the
Alucard's
blackest pits of
TFS,
man's demented
voice
imagination.
actor,
Anime. Basically the same thing. What do you get when you combine them? Two of the meanest monsters out there.
and
He's
the guy that
Wiz
got
and I'm
the voice Dio.
Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Yeah, he's done a lot of voices for the show.
Imagine, if you can, someone so wicked that the sheer destroyed the universe.
What I find so funny about this matchup is it's a god amongst men against a man turned demonic horror. Because Dio is essentially just a human squared, whilst Alucard is the vampire to end all vampires.
You might think they'd have to be no less than the devil himself,
My
but it
God,
was
that
him,
V-Taper.
Dio.
Born a penniless street rat with a
Slight typo, it's 195 centimeters, not 185.
cunning mind in the slums of Victorian London, Dio was humiliated by his poverty and abused by his alcoholic father.
His bitter resentment and small dick
Well, I will
energy
give
would
Rocky
lead to a
credit.
lifelong desire for
231
ultimate
pounds for his
power and
size, that is
immortality
actually pretty
to reach a
accurate.
place over heaven.
And he'd get his chance to act when he was adopted into the wealthy Joestar family. Dio planned to kill his new father, George Joestar, and take his fortune for himself. Only one thing stood in his way: his new brother, Jonathan Joestar, aka Jojo.
Dio's sibling prank says
thought it was
beating him
cool.
up, molesting his girlfriend, and setting his dog on fire. Jesus! You give that creepy dog murderer what for, Jojo?
But after years of emotional
Honestly, this is
manipulation,
one of the cases
Dio's
where the
twisted
villain could've
assassination
won
plot
early
was
on
foiled
if they
by his
weren't
righteous
caught.
stepbrother.
With help from the interfering Speedwagon. All seemed lost until Dio pulled out his Plan B, an ancient stone mask that turned him into a vampire. That's just bizarre.
Okay, so he's not technically a vampire like, say, Dracula. Instead of turning you into an unholy demon, the stone
Actually, I like
a
that they showed
vampire.
this frame because it shows him. This was something they slightly changed in the anime, both in the English dub and sub. But it says he transcends humanity. He doesn't forfeit his humanity, and the reason he doesn't say it in the manga is because of the fact he had no humanity to begin with. That's actually a detail that I changed in the anime.
Like, say, Dracula, instead of turning you into an unholy demon, the stone mask eliminates your body's natural limitations.
Making him way stronger, faster, and tougher than any human. He can hear a heartbeat through the ground, fly through the air, and hypnotize you with just a glance.
It gets weird.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go
Ground,
back.
fly through.
The flying thing, we don't actually know how he does. We know stands can allow their users to fly, but we don't know if vampires can do it themselves. So, bit misconstrued there, but I'll allow it mostly because there isn't much of an explanation.
Through the air and hypnotize you with just a glance.
It gets weirder. Dio can create
Regen,
mind-controlling
blood-sucking.
flesh buds from his hair follicles, vaporize the moisture in his body to freeze anything he touches, and fire beams of pressurized fluids that can split the sky.
Pressurized
Ironically, that sky-splitting feat is anime only.
fluids. Oh, sometimes it's too easy, Wiz. Even more insane is Dio's healing factor. He's been burnt alive, impaled through the head, bisected, decapitated, lost limbs, filled with bullets, and had a huge hole punched in his chest not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Yeah, his
Another similar
regeneration
vampire
is
straight
fucking insane.
survived being blown to pieces and just pulled himself back together.
All Dio needs is some blood to speed up the process, so he is basically a vampire. Though I guess the fangs are just for decoration because he sucks blood through his fingers.
thing your instructors will look
Hold
deeper
on.
into
Get
is
past
AI
this real
usage.
quick.
Grammarly isn't replacing the writing process for us, but
Dio
I saw someone bring up the concept of Dio in Blade vs. Buffy, and like how and how like he would be the only one not partying, and how all the other vampires would be weirded out because he would be sticking his fingers into the punch bowl.
Zombie army to conquer the world and feed a baby to its own mother. Just for kicks.
I have looked for this scene on YouTube so much, but I cannot find it.
We've had a lot of real pieces of shit on this show, Wiz, but I'm starting to think Dio takes the cake. Luckily, his plans were foiled again by his old frenemy Jojo, who beat Dio's ass with a martial art that uses the power of the sun, Hamon.
Because, should Dio's vampire body be subjected to sunlight, he will instantly disintegrate.
So, what did Dio do? Well, he cut off his own head, killed Jonathan on his wedding night, and attached his head to Jojo's body. Wow, cake taken for sure.
Say what you will, that fucker's persistent.
After a brief century in a coffin at the bottom of the ocean, Dio resurfaced in Egypt and tried once again to take over the world.
I like the point they bring up here. It's, while Dio has not used all of his power since acquiring Jonathan's body, there's no evidence he can't use them anymore. I actually like that they bring this up because of the fact, that it's directly confirmed that because of Jonathan's body naturally weaker than they once before. As he showed to Whole Horse, his regeneration is more limited now, with one hand healing slower than the other. But after drinking Joseph's blood, he's directly confirmed to be in his prime, but simply relies on the world instead of his own vampiric prowess. But yeah, so him being brought back to his prime should mean all of his vampiric abilities are at full power, especially seeing as he was able to elbow the Rove Roller.
His ultimate goal was to create a world where everyone knew their own fate and could make peace with the inevitable tragedies life had in store. In Dio's mind, heaven.
And he'd make it happen no matter how many breads he'd have to eat.
After being struck by a mystical arrow, sure, why not, Dio gained a stand. The embodiment of a user's life force. Since they're made of psychic energy, stands can only be seen by stand users, and can only be hurt by other stands. Quite the obstacle for any opponent lacking similar abilities.
Ow! Hey, look, Wiz, I got a stand! I call it 99 Bottles!
Clever that he knew that
shit!
first.
Don't worry, Wiz, I'll change you back with your Ooh, look, a giant beer!
Cannibalism. How the fuck can you lift that thing?
As befits a god among men, Dio received one of the most powerful stands in history. The Wardo! With its ability to stop time.
Time, huh? Thanks for the... Ow! Well, not only does his time stop get longer with each use, he can spam it as much as he likes. He's a massive troll.
The world is
there's also some other abilities that supposedly all stand users have, but they never bring up again, like, Polnareff and Kakyoin shrinking down their stands to slip into Joseph's body. Selective intangibility, yeah. They're also invulnerable to non-stand users. And physical range, 10 meters, yep.
Absurdly strong and fast, able to match the stand Star Platinum, which belongs to Jonathan's great-great-grandson, Jotaro Kujo. He technically inherited it from Dio through Jonathan's body and bloodline, making Star Platinum and the world the same stand.
And both are two of the strongest stands out there, just as strong as Stone Free, which can punch meteors that were pulled to Earth in seconds.
By measuring the distance the meteors are from Earth, we can estimate they were moving at over 11 million meters per second. Factoring in their mass, they'd each have a kinetic energy of 441 kilotons of TNT.
And thing is, that's not even the most impressive feat, because while stands within the A rank range can pull this off, recently there have been some other feats coming to light, like Silver Chariot blocking beams from the sun. So range actually get a lot higher, and now that we, kind of like with Dragon Ball power levels in recent years, it actually is an effective measuring rod. It just gets to a point where that sort of thing becomes redundant, kind of like in Dragon Ball Super and stuff like that.
Not that crazy when you can throw punches that are faster than light. No, really, Star Platinum kept up with this stand, Silver Chariot, which could cut a beam of light.
Yeah, and also blocking the sun, again, blocking... Yeah, they bring it up. All three stands possess a strength rating of A, making them at least comparable to each other. Not equal, just comparable. because two stands in the same range can fight one-on-one, but the thing is that shit, what was I going to say? That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be equal. And for this fight in particular, Silver Chariot had to go through a fuck ton of buffs. It was possessed, bloodlusted, had 2 power amps, and its right arm had gone lighter, which that part is an anime-only thing, but still.
Up with this stand, Silver Chariot, which could
So to
cut
say
a
Star
beam of
Platinum
light.
vastly
Looking at the
upscales
interval
Chariot
Silver
doesn't say.
Chariot's sword swung relative to the light beam, it must have moved over 1,500 times the speed of light.
Not to mention, hold on, let me do something here. All right, so 1,500 times 1,500 times 2 for the power amp, times 2 for the next one, times 2 for the armor blitz by Kakuin's Emerald Splash, times 2 for another blitz on top of that because of the fact that Dio was able to flick it with a finger, and Jotaro should be that fast by bare minimum, times another 2 for a rage boost, times faster than light. And this is technically speaking a low ball. Anyway, back to the video.
And Dio himself has matched Star Platinum on his own, and taken its punches head on.
Yeah, but that's not
Other FTL feats in Joseph dodging a beam of light, Cars blocking UV beam.
compared
light
to
speed in
Dio's secret
JoJo is
weapon,
kind of a
the
low ball.
greatest weapon in anime history. The
I'll be honest, I kinda like the tanker
Steamroller!
from the OVA
Turns out
more.
Dio's a hell of a chef. He can make pancakes and donuts.
Even so, despite having a massive god
Outsmarted genius tactician Joseph Joestar, 400 IQ. Jotaro across Cairo, yep. Split a cloud formation in only the anime, deflected an emerald splash with a finger, tanked a ship exploding as just ahead. The world's destruction. Hold up. The world's destruction. Oh, wait, no. He didn't survive that. Wait, no, yes he did. His body was still technically conscious after the end of that fight. Yeah, he was still technically conscious for that. When his body blew up because Jotaro punched his leg, he was still conscious. He didn't actually die until they got rid of his body. Huh. I'm just realizing that.
complex, Dio's still a careful tactician capable of exploiting an opponent's weaknesses.
Too bad he wasn't prepared for Jotaro to learn how to stop time too and murder the shit out of him. That's some hardcore karma right there. But it only makes sense that a dog murderer would die like a bitch.
But much like the machinations of great and terrible men, Dio's will was immortal. In time, his greatest follower succeeded in extinguishing the Joestar bloodline and literally remaking the universe in Dio's image, creating that heaven he always
He also
dreamed
kind of has telepathy.
I guess when you're named after a rock star, a movie star, and, oh, that's right, God, you're pretty much bound for greatness.
You thought your first kiss would be JoJo, but it was I,
Dio! Damn it. I'm gonna pause this real quick and grab a break in a second.
Solo Leveling Arise. Overdrive. Available now.
Ew. Yeah, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab a drink and use the bathroom. I'm a big back and my dick is slack. Let's go.
How blessed are some people whose lives have no fears, no dreads. For though the world seems full of good men,
Your England has it covered with the Helsing organization.
founded by famous vampire hunter Abraham Van Helsing and led by his descendant Integra, this secret government institution has saved the world time and again with their secret weapon.
And what better weapon to hunt vampires than with one of their very own, the no-life king, the Bird of Hermes, Alucard.
To most, his origin was shrouded in mystery. But under Helsing's employ, he was molded into an elite hunter, made even more vicious by his intense...
He's got 3.9 million souls, is almost 600 years of age, and has gone through the events of Bram Stoker's Dracula. He forfeit his life, or his soul, on death's door, and now hates himself for all eternity until he can find a human worthy of ending his own life.
Hatred of his fellow vampire kind.
A hatred that he expresses with two of the gnarliest handguns you'll ever pray to your impotent God.
Stop with the lag, knock it off. Knock it the fuck off. Load, you piece of shit. Thank you.
Hatred that he expresses with two of the gnarliest handguns you'll ever pray to your impotent God to never see in person.
Alucard's primary sidearm is the Castle, a behemoth of a handgun able to kill most undead in one shot with holy bullets that can nullify a vampire's healing factor.
The Jackal is the handgun she told you not to worry about.
Damn
16
right.
inches long and weighing 35 pounds. Its armor-piercing, hollow-point bullets, jacketed in blessed Macedonian silver, were built to annihilate the toughest monsters.
And after decades of clandestine experimentation, Helsing enhanced Alucard's vampiric abilities far beyond the norm.
Alucard can walk through walls, cast illusions, levitate, and move objects with his mind. Objects like, say, an ocean of over 3 million people's blood? That'd be an energy worth half a ton of TNT.
I will admit they did kind of lowball Alucard in this episode. I still agree with the result, though.
His psychic prowess allows him to read minds, communicate telepathically, hypnotize with a glance, and see through hallucinations with his third eye.
He's not a Triclops. It's more of a sixth sense that lets him hit bullseyes from a kilometer away and even
basically
predict your
JoJo's
movements.
six eyes before
Kind
the
of like
six
the
eyes.
Sharon gun.
Of course, he wouldn't be a real vampire if he couldn't drink blood. The catch is, when he drinks enough blood to kill you, he literally absorbs your soul.
And gains the abilities of every soul he absorbs.
And that right there is the source of his most fearsome ability.
You just can't kill the sumbitch. Shoot him into Swiss cheese, blow his ass to smithereens, turn him into a literal blood puddle, he'll just regenerate his body lickety-split. Like, we've seen some overpowered healing factors on this show before, but Alucard's is just bullshit.
Literally the only way to kill him is to wipe him from
Any way he wants. This allows him to shapeshift and instantly heal any wound. And each soul Alucard has consumed acts as an extra life that he can spend whenever he's fatally injured. Kind of like a video game.
And after 500 years of unlife, Alucard has consumed literally millions of souls.
And don't think you can try to cut your way through it. No, you gotta go one by one. You can't just pick one.
Order!
Like me.
Order!
Walmart's top brand gift surprised every last who.
Walmart has Tony's?
And Nespresso?
Even Apple? Who knew?
You can swear on here, dude. I'm not gonna bust you.
Okay, Blazer.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jessica Reisig, an orthopedic surgeon here in Butte, Montana with specialty training in foot and ankle.
Helsing needed a beast as fearsome as Alucard to take on Millennium, aka Nazi vampires. That's like evil squared.
Like when Millennium SS Lieutenant Rip Van Winkle commandeered a British aircraft carrier as part of an invasion of London.
Alucard didn't like that very much, so he jackknifed it with an SR-71 Blackbird at Mach 3.
A fully loaded Blackbird weighs 170,000 pounds, meaning it's struck with a kinetic energy of 11 tons of TNT. That's as powerful as the US Massive Ordnance Air Blast.
AKA the mother of all bombs. And Al was in the middle of that and strolled out like it was nothing.
Just as impressive as intercepting Rip's magic bullets. Comparing the distance one bullet moved to the jet in the same time frame as the jet's own movement, each bullet would have to be moving at 1,500 times the speed of sound.
And Alucard caught one with his friggin' teeth. And after giving Rip's name a new meaning, he drove that aircraft carrier back to shore with his mind to fight two separate armies at the same time. What a goddamn monster!
It goes without saying that Alucard's immense power and bloodlust needed to be controlled. So 6 restriction levels were placed on him that he can release against dangerous opponents.
Levels 6 through 2 are for wrecking your ordinary ghouls. Level 1 is for your heavy-duty vampires, and for getting this gnarly demon doggo made from his shadow essence, Baskerville.
But there exists an even greater state of power Alucard can release when he wants to end the world. Level 0.
Once activated, Level 0 releases every single soul Alucard has consumed as a sea of blood-soaked zombies. All 3 million of them.
Sure, with his souls gone, he can't heal as easily, and if his heart is destroyed, he'll die permanently. But the sheer...
Yeah. He's been around since, I believe, the 1500s, and has absorbed enough souls to the point that if he and Makimo were to fight, it would likely last several hours or days.
Numbers and power of this army from hell makes him virtually impossible to approach in the first place.
He's on...
And true identity...
Got it.
Alucard backwards is...
Dracula? Yeah, duh, Wiz, idiot.
Over 500 years ago, the Wallachian voivode Vlad Dracula battled the Ottoman Turks for control over Eastern Europe, and impaled thousands of people in the process. Hence his historical name, Vlad the Impaler.
But things didn't end up too good for him. Right before his execution, he took a big old sip of some blood from the battlefield, sacrificing his humanity in order to become an immortal creature of the night.
And that's nature, and saw it as...
Shredded blood. Return from limbo for 30 years. Yeah. That part, after absorbing Schrodinger by accident, he ceased existing because he couldn't recognize himself, and proceeded to kill every soul in his body just to make his way back. It worked.
Cowardice. The main reason he hated other vampires so much was that he...
Maybe that's why he always lets his enemies rip into him like a piñata of self-loathing. His crazy OP healing factor will fix everything anyways.
And that's part of it. The other part is he's kind of a sadistic psychopath who will let you think you've got an advantage and then proceed to break you mentally as he rips you apart.
Millennium would exploit this arrogance by tricking Alucard into absorbing the soul and abilities of Schrodinger, a German cat boy who controls his own quantum state. This grants him pseudo-omnipresence and immortality. He can exist everywhere and nowhere, and cannot die so long as he can recognize his own existence.
But because Al had 3 million souls kicking around inside him, Schrody couldn't recognize himself anymore, forcing him, and thus Alucard, to fade out of existence.
So Alucard spent 30 years killing the other 3 million souls inside of him until he could return to reality and his master. He undid his own unexistence.
No matter how spoopy the threat, Alucard will show no mercy. He's just waiting for the day he meets a noble human warrior strong enough to end his unlife for good.
But should he face a fellow monster, a fool who rejected their humanity like himself, he'll let loose the dogs of war, and all hell will sing.
I'm a dog. Then you're dog food.
What I find so funny about that scene
all right, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
But first, if you want...
As a medical student, I wear a lot of hats. From seeing patients to studying for exams, and lately, creating...
Come on.
So it is brought to you...
Get to the fight. I don't want Viagra.
You could benefit
for you.
Shut up.
Visit Blue...
Right now!
There we are.
You interrupted my dinner.
Funny, I was just thinking about having mine.
Then by all means, take a bite.
Round 1. Notice he has both of them
so very weak, dog. You thought you'd triumph, but it was I.
Dio?
If I'm a dog, your dog poop.
There's a horrifying game of JoJo, but nothing like this.
Huh?
Like we're reaction. Shit, never mind.
I'm gonna enjoy hearing you scream.
Fun fact, the version of the world they use is made because that's its order.
What the hell are you?
A real fucking vampire.
Horror time. Fire. Sword light, let's go. Ass back here, boy.
You want blood, you disgusting monster? Choke on your own.
You're about to hear one of the best vocal performances ever.
I want to rule the world!
That sound.
Face me, Vampire King! Bow to your new god!
The lipstick comes off.
The bird of Hermes is my name, eating my wings.
Useless. Muda!
You've 10 out of 10, absolute perfection. In my own way. Now, reason why Dio won. One, he was over 870,000 times faster. Two, his level of power output, while would not put Alucard down, makes it so Alucard essentially can't hurt him. Dio is immune to divine weapons, and Alucard couldn't shut down his regen. What else? Dio could counter most of his abilities with a few minor exceptions, being the illusion creation and some of his soul fuckery, but his intangibility meant he could hit Alucard. Alucard could sense the world. And as for the zombies, not only does Dio have his eyes, so he could just blast their asses out of the way, and it was really a battle of could Dio eventually kill Alucard for good? And the simple answer, yes, he could. Though it would inevitably take a while. Though if Schrodinger were factored into the equation, which normally isn't for debates like this, Alucard would win because Dio would have no way to put him down. Literally would not matter. Let's see, how else could I put this? Alucard had experience, vastly better regeneration, numbers, weapons, and was a better fighter, whilst Dio was faster, stronger, smarter, and had better abilities overall. Because illusions are great, but a time stop is so fucking busted if you don't have a way around it. And Alucard's illusions, while they're strong, they're not Aizen or Madara level strong. You can literally figure them out if you're smart enough. Time stop if you don't have a way around it, you're just screwed. That's it. Plus, while Alucard's regen was definitely better, with his blood always available to drink, Dio could just keep the ball rolling until eventually Alucard dies. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this live stream. I'm going to cut it off so I can get back to some other shit and see how this went. I have no idea how long this has been going for. Oh, an hour. Neato.